You're listening to I Am a Pain Patient with Mary Ann. Hello, and welcome to another episode of I'm a Pain Patient with Mary Ann. We have had such a full week talking about ways that we can embrace our now as we approach our current challenges. And to wrap up this week's content, we are going to be practically speaking, talking about the ways that we can implement embracing our now into our daily life. So the first challenge is asking yourself, how can I pivot my perspective on my current challenge? And using the tools that we've been building throughout this podcast, we can kind of do an internal self-check. So what is our current challenge? And I'm going to use myself as the example. For example, I do have continuing chronic neck pain. Typically, I live at like a 1 or a 2, which is completely functional for me. Lately, with increasing stress in my daily life, I have been experiencing more than normal flare days. And so I need to address that problem by asking myself, what can I change? Are there sustainable changes that I can make? So back when I was first struggling with chronic neck pain and beginning to work on it with my physical therapist, I came to him with the problem that I was facing, which was that my work flared me up. My work as a bookkeeper. My bookkeeping work, it's a desk job, and a majority of it is repetitive movements. And so, for example, once a week on Mondays, I would do the bank deposits. And that included recording checks. And so I would reach all the way to extension to grab, the next check and then bring it forward and then reach out again to type in the information. And even just as I'm doing that movement here, it hurts me. It hurts me right here under my shoulder blade. It increases tension in my neck. And it felt really daunting that my workday even would contribute towards flaring me up. And that kind of contributed also towards feelings of being a victim of my own body. I can't even work or do my normal job without incurring pain. Like, what is this? And my physical therapist, he's so good. He cultivated a lot of mantras for me. And one of them was, the definition of crazy is doing something over and over the same way and expecting a different result. And so his point there was like, okay, so you're telling me you're flared up in the way that you're doing your job. How can we change that? How can we change that so that you're not flared up? And so with his help, we developed a system by which I would be, I'm going to do my exercises here. I would be a T-Rex. I would keep my elbows kind of like closer to my body, my trunk. And my challenge was then to rearrange the things on my desk so that I could reach them with my T-Rex arms. And so I took that challenge to heart. I went back to my workplace. I did my T-Rex hands and I looked at my desk. I moved everything around so that on the days that I was doing deposits, I was not reaching to extension anymore. I was doing it in a way where everything was close to my body and I was typing like a little T-Rex. But let me tell you, that one sustainable change did a world of good in desensitizing my nervous system. And so When we're looking towards making sustainable changes, we have to ask ourselves, okay, is there a repetitive movement or a something that I have to do every week that flares me up? Is there a situation that I need to be in for my work, for my family, that stresses me out? Another life example for you. I'm the mother of 3 young children, as I've said in previous podcasts. Two of my children have issues with sensory processing, and one of my children is on the autism spectrum. These big needs in my household, I have to be there for them. I have to be at the center of the vortex. That's my job, and I love doing it. But sometimes it is mighty stressful. And so when I approach or when we're in the middle of a storm, it can be really easy to just put self-care out the window. Like, there's no way that I can take care of myself in the middle of this. But that is exactly the time when you need to insert something towards self-care. I have these neck wraps that I can heat in the microwave, and that is the easiest thing for me to do while I'm in the middle of the vortex here. Stick a neck wrap in the microwave, let it heat up, put it on, and then continue being in the center of the vortex. Changing our surroundings in that little tiny way. Is there something I can touch? Is there something I can smell? Like essential oils, they're fabulous. Having ones handy that you can just, okay, I'm just going to put a little of this on and we're going to continue this discussion. Um, is there something I need to see? Can you surround yourself with beauty? Pictures that elevate you, phrases that remind you to calm down and remember that you are enough. Just like surround yourself with the things that elevate you. Is there something that you can listen to? Can you turn on classical music while you're processing a problem, while you are doing a tough task at work? Or whatever music soothes you. I hear from a lot of people that the music that I choose is kind of depressing. And my husband actually brought some clarity to that. He was like, "You're a very intense person." So it actually makes sense that you are drawn towards like music that sounds a little bit depressing because that's what you need to counterbalance what's going on inside of you. And I thought that that was so astute. I'm just like, "Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense." So be aware of the things that center you. Internal mantras. Choosing a phrase that you can return to again and again. Change it up every day of the week. Or make it the same. Just choose something to counterbalance those stressful points in your life. And look towards those physical changes that you can make as well. If you're a mom and stirring really flares you up, but you don't want to do the dishes, you've got to choose which one you'd rather, do. Do you want your body to be flared up, or do you want to do some extra dishes with getting that mixer out and letting it mix for you? And that's something that I have to face a lot because I would rather not do the dishes of the mixer. But stirring flares me up. So I sometimes have to just be like, okay, we're getting the mixer out today. Tools exist so that they can help you. They can help you navigate a new normal. And that's really the goal here. When we're practically speaking, our goal is to salvage a new normal inside of this challenge that we're facing. So instead of allowing yourself to see yourself as a victim of your own body, of the things going on in your life that you can't control, how can we change our perspective to include those things as part of a new normal? And of course, the goal overall is to find a normal that includes health and wellness, that includes stability, that includes less stress. But while you're in a stressful season, while you are struggling with a physical ailment, it really can be beneficial to stop and take stock and try to include those realities in your internal landscape of what normal is. I know it's hard, but you could do hard things. So then that final piece today that we're going to talk about when we're trying to make practical changes to our life is how can we ask our team to support and encourage us? We talked all of yesterday about building a medical team and building our friends and family network. So how can we ask for support and encouragement while we are engaging our symptoms, while we are highlighting ways that we can change, that we can pivot our perspective, that we can insert a sustainable change, maybe one at a time, one sustainable change at a time. So having an accountability partner whom you tell, okay, I have highlighted a sustainable change that I can make in my life, and this is what it is. Can you call me once a week and ask me how it's going? Can you, if it's not going well, fill me up with encouragement and not feed into that internal critic that I'm already fighting with? It is okay to give your support team the language that you need to feel supported. It's something so interesting since I've been married. I do apologize. I've got children clamoring, but I want to finish this one point. Since I've been married, it is interesting to see like man brain versus woman brain in life. And in connecting with my spiritual director, in working with my husband towards better communication between us, healthier communication between us, I have come to find that my husband thrives with scripts. And so if there are specific things that I want to hear from him, it is okay for me to write those down. We have a system where each of us has a cup, a mug. And in that mug are cards, like little cut up strips of 3x5 note cards. And we've written on them things that we need to help us stay centered in times of health, so that when it's a stressful period, we are equipped to meet each other where we need to be met. And so in my husband's jar of things to pull for me, there are a lot of phrases like, oh, hey, you look beautiful today. I mean, sometimes I just need to remember or to have that written out for them. Like, I need you to tell me that I look beautiful. Hey, I noticed that you completed a task while taking care of our children. That's really hard to do. Things like that. So like, be aware of what fills you up and don't be afraid to offer those words to your friends. Like, okay, specifically, I need to hear these things over and over and I am not hearing them. So I need somebody to proclaim them to me. Please help. There's no shame in that. It's actually really healthy to know where you need to be propped up. This week has been really difficult as my kids have been sick. And all night, every night, this whole week, someone's been up. Someone's been up coughing. Someone's been up needing me. And I haven't been getting enough sleep. And so I reminded my husband yesterday, I need to be propped up this week with affirmations that, like, I'm enough. Even though I'm exhausted, even though when I'm exhausted, my temper is a little shorter, I need to be propped up with affirmations. So know yourself and know how to include your team, whom you trust, in vulnerability to allow them to actually see you as you are and meet you where you need to be met. And together, we can do hard things.